little crazy, intelligently, singing rock back, shit. No sticks, no stones, or any kind of weapon don't belong here. I don't wanna break no bones, I just want a microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, 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 good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers. It's 7 a.m. and this is the Tobago Updates morning show coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. It's Tuesday, the 28th of December, 2021. We are now on that final stretch, just past an enjoyable Christmas weekend celebration, and we are now on that final stretch, the final week of 2021. And if you're like some, you're counting down, this is the last Tuesday in 2021. I am Julian Skeet and
I am Ria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Season's greetings. We're still within this festive season, viewers. So good morning to those of you viewing us on the live right here in Tobago, Trinidad, the Caribbean. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're really happy to be in your company this morning. Julian, you look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
It's been a good weekend celebration.
Yes.
It's like I tell persons, the highlight for me would have been my daughter having a time for the Christmas celebration, and I think quite naturally you get to that point where that brings you an even greater sense of joy than what you yourself would have been able to enjoy. So it's really been quite a good celebration, and I'm also happy that we had a holiday yesterday automatically following Sunday.
Yes, indeed. But I want to take the opportunity this morning, Julian, to send out a very special good morning to Lavian Skeet. Lavian Skeet, who ensures every morning that her daddy is dressed appropriately.
Yes.
Apparently, she has the final say on what he wears, and not Laverne. Laverne, I thought it was you. My apologies. So it's Lavian. Lavian, good morning to you.
Yes.
And you did a good job this morning, Lavian.
So this is my shout out this morning to my baby girl there, Lavian. Yes, and yes, this morning she was up. So yes, Daddy. Occasionally on morning she doesn't make it up in time, but this morning she was definitely up to make sure. So shouting out Lavian Skeet out there this morning, and I know she's probably rock back on her tablet saying, but Daddy's calling my name on the TV. So we're also gonna go straight into some birthday shout outs today.
We've got some.
Ria, out there in the US, Curleen Charles, we want to wish you a happy birthday coming from the Tobago Updates family. We're also doing some shout outs to Lenny Myers, and that's the husband of Trisilla Myers. Good morning and happy birthday to you, Lenny. And I'm also shouting out Just Nades, that's my classmate out of Scarborough Secondary School. Just Nades, happy birthday to you this morning. We are just a few in terms of birthday shout outs this morning.
All right, and I've got a couple here myself. So yesterday, Nadine Davidson celebrated her birthday. Happy birthday going out to you, Auntie Nadine. Lots of love. Today celebrating his birthday. We've got Jean-Maurice Otti celebrating his birthday today. So Jean-Maurice, this is love coming from your mommy Cassie. This is love coming from the entire Tobago Updates family and from my family as well. So love going out to you. Have a really great day. And celebrating their 8th anniversary is Alana Hamilton Williams and Annim Williams. So lots of love going out to you guys as well. Have a really great day. 8 years is a lot to celebrate. We believe God for 8 more and many, many, many more happy, healthy years to come for you guys.
And we also want to drop in a shout out there, a special birthday shout out to 2 other individuals this morning. Ayana Wright Anthony. And Ria, she's in Trinidad, and I remember when the show started very early, we were back and forth. She messaged me on, social media and so on. We were chatting, and she says, boy, I tune in every morning when I'm on my way to work. So I know you may not be on your way to work this morning, but I want to give you a shout out, Ayana Wright Anthony, celebrating a birthday today, and I trust that you have an enjoyable one. Taking that time out, even in the hustle and bustle there across in Trinidad. And birthday shout outs to my very morning. She's probably saying, why is he calling my name on TV? Hates publicity. Good morning, Kosi, and happy birthday to you. I trust that you have an enjoyable one. And birthday shout-outs also yesterday to Mr. Erland Kent. I know he would have been celebrating up there in Roxborough. Mr. Erland Kent, good morning and happy birthday to you as well.
And in the midst of life, as we celebrate birthdays, we have death. And we are saddened this morning to announce the passing of Officer Sonia Taylor, who passed away yesterday. It was all over social media, and we take the time this morning to extend condolences to the TTPS, to her family, her friends. I understand that she was a part of the CSI family. Yes. So, you know, we extend condolences this morning to all of them, as well to the family and friends of Leslie Alexis Bigart. And, you know, if it's one thing you know about Mr. Bigart is that he was very passionate about politics. The first words out of his mouth would have been something political. What's happening with XY? Who says and who does? You know, and he will be sadly missed as well. So,
and you know, I also want to send out some similarly, Ria, in terms of the families. I had the unfortunate situation within my circle there, within our village, that we would have had 2 passings, you know, on the same day. And in fact, as my neighbor, I grew up knowing him as Mr. Hugh, you know, right opposite me, and then my neighbor right next to me, Miss Cynthia.
Who Hugh? Which Hugh?
That's Hugh Guy. Hugh Guy, you know, and for me, I really want to just take the opportunity to send out condolences to both families this morning. That was a kind of rough Boxing Day for the village, for our entire village there, in terms of having to treat with that, because you had one very early in the morning, and by the time the police and they came and took the body, you know, and the doctor would have come, the same doctor had to return probably mere hours later to our house next door now, you know, to perform the same kind of responsibility. So we really want to take the opportunity to extend condolences to both families this morning, and indeed we continue to remember you all in prayer, coming out from the Tobago Updates family, and even from my very own family there within our circle there, within the village.
Definitely.
So this morning, who do we have on our lineup, Priya?
Well, you know, coming up on the program this morning, Julian, we will be chatting with Billy Sterling Lewis, and Billy is a psychologist, managing director of Impact Change Concepts. And we, you know, in as much as this has been a difficult year, but particularly around this season of celebration, there are a lot of persons who are dealing with death, they're dealing with loss and grief. And as a result of that, you know, managing and trying to grope with the holidays would be kind of a little bit difficult for them. So it's about dealing with loss, grief, and death during the season.
Yes, and then this morning, the hot news. We would have had an address yesterday by Prime Minister Mia Mottley making that announcement of snap elections. Where I'm told that elections were only due in May or June of 2023. and the Prime Minister Mayor Motley making that decision to call elections. Nominations, they will be next week, and elections are scheduled for January 19th. So this morning, folks, we will be chatting with Ricardo Roberts, our Barbados correspondent, giving us some updates in terms of what just happened there yesterday with this snap election call by Prime Minister Mayor Motley.
And then just after that, we're chatting with Abini Taylor on the virtual Spanish spelling bee. And if you know anything about Abini Taylor, from the time, once she enters the door, she starts rattling it off. Buenos dias.
Senorita. And we wrap this morning with Elizabeth Hosford giving us some insights into the Bible Marathon 2022. So, folks, this is our rundown here for this morning. This is what we have on the lineup. We thank you for the love and support. We trust that you continue to have an enjoyable season, and thank you for joining with us here this morning on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We remind you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
The Grinch has gone greener. In TNT, we love to lime and laugh a lot, but our waste hurts the earth, and that has got to stop. Good thing for those going greener, stepping up to save the day. Everyday heroes in their own way. You too can show you care. Recycle aluminum, plastic, glass, and Tetra Paks with iCare. Gather up the empties. Take them to your nearest iCare spot. They're all across the country. Check iCare TT and let's clean up. Help clear our drains and landfills. Stop the flood. So simple to do good. Recycle now with iCare. Let's all do our part. Show Sweet TNT we love you with all of our heart. Visit iCare TT for more info.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Talk, watch, and listen to win big this Christmas with a Digicel Prime Bundle. The more you watch, cheer, and dance to your favorite Digicel apps, the more chances you have to win thousands of shake-to-win prizes. Enter to win grand prizes of $100,000, home appliances, and groceries valued at $50,000 or free Digicel services for a year. Visit My Digicel or dial *323# to buy a Prime Bundle today. And talk, watch, listen to win big with Digicel. Better together this Christmas.
To all Tobagonians and visitors of this beautiful island, the Tobago Recycling Resource Initiative is seeking your efforts and support in keeping a clean and organized, friendly environment. In doing so, drop-off bins are located at strategic areas around Tobago for your recyclable materials such as plastics, aluminum and steel cans, glass bottles and Tetra Paks in bags, and let's protect our environment. Our own Tobago Recycling Resource Initiative is here to propel that change. Look for the white bin nearest to your area.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning. Good morning.
It's 7:13 a.m. this morning, folks. This is the Tobago Updates Morning Show, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. And just before we dive into this segment, I want to take some time out as well to send out anniversary greetings to Sofia and Sonia. And just in case you're not sure who these ladies are and who these two couples are, splash of beauty out there in the East, celebrating their 8th anniversary today. And in fact, the twins got married on the same day,
Oh, okay. Now I know who we're talking
celebrating our Splash of Beauty.
These are the
those
twins
two
from Argyle.
couples, really wishing them a happy anniversary and God's continued blessings.
On them, definitely. And these are the twins from Argyle with the
Yes.
hair
Kendall.
salon. In Kendall,
Kendall.
that's right.
And they're particular, so they would correct you.
That's right. And I must say here that their mommy makes one of the best cassava pones ever. Let me just and sauce. All right. So yeah, Julian, we're getting into things.
So in this interview, we should have on the line, Billy is joining us this morning. I know she isn't live in studio, but she's ready and energized there waiting for us. Good morning, Billy Sterling Lewis.
Good morning and season's greetings to you guys there at Tobago Updates. I hope
Happy
you guys had a
returns.
wonderful season. Thank you.
Happy
Thank you.
returns to you as well. So
Thank you
this
so much.
morning we're treating with dealing with COVID deaths. Particularly, well, it's the world over, but seeking to get some tips and some guidance, especially here within our Tobago space. From the very onset, what do you say to persons in these times, particularly, knowing what might be the very harsh reality, Billy?
One of the first things I try to say, whether verbally or through actions, and something we can all practice, is simply, I see you and I hear you and you're not alone. Because we have said my condolences so many times, it is losing its impact in many ways. And sometimes we say, I'm so sorry for your loss. Not that they're bad terms, but they kind of have lost in many ways the impact that we want of that community. And sometimes it's just for persons to know that, hey, we see where you are. We understand as much as we can from our perspective, and you're not alone. And I think that's a good place to start in these difficult times.
And I hear what you're saying, and I think if we take a look at our topic this morning, is dealing with death, depression, and uncertainty. And if ever a time we felt, uncertain, it is these days, because we see persons here today, we laugh and we smile, and then tomorrow we are seeing sleep in peace or rest in peace on social media. People are dealing with depression. A lot of persons would have lost their jobs. They would have lost family members. They are unable to celebrate their lives and the time that they were here on earth because of all that we're dealing with. How do persons navigate? How do we survive? How do we move on? We've got families to take care of and jobs to attend to, and yet deal with all of these things. How do we do it? How are we supposed to do it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important question. And the thing is, the answer is not a textbook answer. There's no one straight remedy, because grief is such a dynamic situation and it's also very individualized. So we have two main things that are affected when we have loss, not only death, but loss. Because remember, COVID has caused people to lose a lot in addition to loss of life. So we have grief, like I said, which is individual, and grief is very personal. Grief is your response. Grief is your grief. Your grief is your grief. But then we have the mourning process as well, which is the more external communal expression of the loss. And in these times, both are being affected. Our communities are not being able to mourn the way we normally do, with our rituals, with our what we call it, the where we go by them and we sing and we eat, those sort of things. The wake. Forgot the title. Yes. Even just having that church filled with people at the funeral and hugging up, and and then the grief. People don't know how to grieve, because the thing is, the types of grief that we are going through right now are so complex, so complicated, and so varied. I think one of the main griefs we're going through right now is something called ambiguous grief, where we just don't know what's going on. We don't know what is going on. Then we have the complex issue as well, where in addition to the death, the primary loss, we have secondary losses, and then we have other losses going on. People have lost family members while they lost their jobs and their income. People have lost family members when they've gotten a negative response from a medical scan. So we are losing a lot in a time, and we don't know what to do. So in this time, as you're correctly saying, Miriam, a lot of emotional reactions, and many have developed mental health issues, including depression and anxiety. Those are increased. And it's important that in this time, we're able to own our grief and be okay with it. Be okay to sit in it and be okay to reach out, acknowledge those feelings and reach out when we must. And that's only just the surface of it.
And it's interesting that you speak to depression, because there's a lot of mixed feelings in these times. And I want you to just kind of guide our viewers through, Billy. What I learned a few years ago are actually referred to as the stages, of grieving and grief, because sometimes you experience so many emotions within that short space of time, and you're not sure, am I okay? Am I back to normal? Is this kind of something that's naturally going to happen as part of the process? Just give us a little sense from your professional background in terms of the dealing with the levels and the stages in grieving.
Sure, I love that. I mean, I like to say this when I'm talking about grief, that those stages of grief by Kubler-Ross did not actually come about from death. They actually came about from her studies with persons who got diagnosis of a terminal illness. And what she recognized was in that time when they had the diagnosis, they started to go through some stage of emotional reactions. And then we recognize that in death, in loss, people go through similar stages. So we have the stage of shock or denial. That's where we normally start. And it's just like, is this true? Is this really happening? Nah, it's not really. So I'm just going to go on. I'm going to call him tomorrow morning and they're going to pick up and tell me what time. And then many times we go through, after that, the anger. When I have to be careful to say after, but I explain. We have the anger, we have the bargaining, we have the depression, we have the resolution stage, those 5 stages. And the thing is, the reason why I said I wouldn't say after is because people hope and expect grief to go like this, very linear. I start at shock, I go to anger, I go to sadness. It doesn't happen like that. It goes like a whole big circle up and down like a spider web with no structure. And it is also important to note that grief can last for extended times, even if there's not something called complicated grief. So I'll give a quick example. I celebrated the 3rd year of my son's death this year, and the next day one of my colleagues died. And I remember going through my pain on the 13th of December, which is the anniversary of his death, and working myself through that and coming to the place of resolution. And then I get the message in the morning that Jason died, and I went right back into shock, right back into anger, right back into bargaining. And there were 2 different experiences. That's me. And I'm able to cope and have my resources. There are many people who don't, but we go through those stages. I want to talk about the bargaining, especially where people are saying, God, if you only give him one more time, if you can rewind, the if a woulda, coulda, shouldas that come up. And the painful part of those if a coulda, woulda, shouldas is that we don't get to redo it. And that alone can be so heavy on persons who are coping with loss and grief.
Billy, does it matter one's age? If you're a teenager, a young adult in your 20s, a senior dealing with grief, does it matter in terms of the stages of grief? Can we skip some of those stages? Can we skip some of those stages, depending on our age?
No, we don't skip. Actually, the age, let's look at children. The age of the child is very important in determining how they will respond. So a very young child may not respond in the same way because they don't have that understanding of the permanence of death or the loss or those sort of things. But once we get to a child that is about 7 and up, according to the developmental age and stage, we're gonna see those reactions, and they go through it in different ways. Take a child, for example, again, a child who is like a tween or teenager. Many times they react with not only depression, but also aggression. And so many times our young people are acting out, and we see them as rude and them, uncouth. But many times they're grappling with the grief that they have not been able to help to process. Our adults are the same. When a mother has to bury her child or father has to bury her child, the stage of grief would be the same, but the way they experience it is different. When an elderly sibling has to bury their younger sibling or vice versa, everybody goes through the stages, but it looks different because, like I said, grief is an individual process. Some people are able to hum their way through it and shake their legs. Some people scream to the top of their lungs. Some people want to roll down. We laugh about it. But it's genuinely a real thing. They want to roll themselves into the coffin. These things are real, and each person will respond differently based on who they are, their personality type, if they've had a series of losses, which is what we're seeing now, if they don't feel like they have support, if they feel like that we have something called agency, which is sense of control, and also that sense of transcendence, that spiritual aspect that helps to ground many of us. So many times, if these things are not in a good place, the grief for the individual becomes really, really traumatic.
It's so interesting that you'd make mention of that area particularly, Billy, because like you, my mom passed in 2012, and I'm just making the analogy that you just made there to 2 years ago. And for me, there are times that the memory and things happen, and it just triggers and takes you back to that kind of scenario. And we were just saying at the start in sending out condolences particularly on Sunday, Boxing Day. A scenario in my village where two persons you grew up and you're accustomed walking on the street, and from as early as then you know them as Mr. Hugh and Miss Cynthia, and they would shout out, walk on the side of the road when you're going by the shop and so on. But what I want to go a little further with this morning is just making that connection. Then in the time of the passing of my mom, people would naturally reach out in terms of showing support, and people, sometimes curious as to, what they might have passed away from, especially if they didn't communicate for a while. How do persons treat with now the further challenge in terms of that mindset? So in the case of my village, two persons, as I said, as young as a child, I knew them to be seniors in my community, and they've lived to that right old age and died at home. And the possibilities that it may not have been COVID, but the stigma attached now where everybody believes that someone who has passed away is immediately COVID. How does the family deal with that kind of battle as well? When you are telling people outright, and I've heard some family members, saying to others in deaths that have gone, within the year and into last year, every death is not COVID. You know what I mean?
Right.
How do you deal with that stigma and challenge, especially in these pandemic times?
Stigma is always something that destroys proper relationships and communication. One of the first ways we battle stigma is through education. And the family saying, every death is not COVID is important. Just them saying that. The other thing is that we, as a community, we're going to have to get over this stigma. Every time I think about COVID, I think about HIV when it started, and the stigma and the amount of people we lost to HIV that we didn't need to lose. Full-blown, as it were, full-blown AIDS. And the same thing is happening with COVID, where there's that high level of stigma, high level of misunderstanding, high level of conflicting information, because people understand, but sometimes they're being misled with the information. Definitely, family members will need to learn to shut out some things. Sometimes it's as simple as, let's not talk about that right now. The point of the cause is not important. What we're dealing with right now is the absence, and how we're going to focus on our lives with this absence. And sometimes they have to spend so much time explaining or pacifying people that, hey, we're not contagious or whatever. And it affects their ability to mourn and grieve in the healthy way. And so it might be important, like I said, for families to just lock certain conversations, certain persons off until they are ready. It is your individual process, and you have to work it the best way, because at the end of the day, we do want that resolution of the grief, or as I often say, reincorporating this death into your life, because that's what grieving, healthy grieving does. It allows you to live your life with the person absent, or live your life with the person in a new place in your life, So that's one of the first things I'll suggest. Just lock off, turn off. Ignore the questions, or let people know, not now, we're not going to talk about this now, or whenever I'm ready I will. And then definitely allow yourself to understand that this is your process, and all the things that come with it, you have to process it. So you can use your connections, use your spiritual connections, use your community connections. Maybe it was COVID and you had to isolate. Reach out through the technology that we have. There's some people who still don't have technology. Reach out in the way you can. Go outside if you can, and just sit in nature. We have one thing we say to people: just go and stand next to a tree, or put your back against the tree. Sit in the grass. Allow nature to comfort you, because nature is also the arm of God. But beyond that spiritual aspect of it, psychologically, nature has healing properties. And if you don't have technology that you can reach out in the way that others can, connect with nature. You'll be surprised: the sound of the birds, the touch of the warmth, the dew on the grass that we normally shake off. Oh gosh, how it could be so comforting and relaxing during a difficult time.
Much there, Billy, for chatting with us, and for persons who feel that they need to connect with you after this interview, because I think you've got a lot to share. Yes. How can they contact you?
Sure, you can contact me at 294-3444. That's 294-3444. If you are on Facebook, you can always check my Facebook page and send me a message. That's Impact Change Concepts. I'm there, and also I have a therapy store. I'm there sometimes. You could chat to me there, because I do get to chat with a lot of people, at this therapy store there. So either of those means, I will be able to reach out to you as well.
Billy,
thank you.
Just as we wrap, only when we had the last interview, I was reminded and made the connection. So my good mornings as well to Pastor Nevin. I didn't before. All right, yes, so you have a great day.
You too, thank you. Be safe.
Okay, well, interesting, I'm surprised at that one, Julian. But viewers, we're going to take a break at this. In fact, we encourage you to share the live. Coming up just after this morning, we will be chatting with our Barbados correspondent, Ricardo Roberts, on the Barbados snap election update. So we encourage you this morning to share the live, share the live, share the live.
The Grinch has gone greener. In TNT, we love to lime and laugh a lot, but our waste hurts the earth, and that has got to stop. Good thing for those going greener, stepping up to save the day. Everyday heroes in their own way. You too can show you care. Recycle aluminum, plastic, glass, and Tetra Paks with iCare. Gather up the empties. Take them to your nearest iCare spot. They're all across the country. Check iCare TT and let's clean up. Help clear our drains and landfills. Stop the flood. So simple to do good. Recycle now with iCare. Let's all do our part. Show Sweet TNT we love you with all of our heart. Visit iCare TT for more info.
It's a different type of thing round here. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back. It is the Tobago Updates morning show. Good morning, morning. And we are going over to Barbados at this time to chat with our Barbados correspondent, Ricardo Roberts. Ricardo, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Ria. Good morning, Julian. Good to see you all, my media family.
Just double check for me the microphone, make sure it's on mute.
All right, are you hearing me now?
Yeah, we're hearing you a lot
Good.
better now.
You see, I want them to hear. I want them to hear the Tobago accent. So you might be in Barbados, but are we Tobago boy?
I may have left Tobago, but Tobago hasn't left me at all. That's one thing for sure. Good to see you all.
Ricardo, it's a pleasure to be able to chat with you this morning. Give us an idea of what was, what caused this? We heard, an announcement last evening, very late rather, about the snap election by the Prime Minister. Is this the right call? Is this the right decision? Give us an idea of what's happening on the ground.
Well, let me say good morning to the people of Tobago again. I am just as surprised as you are concerning the snap election. Of course, there were many factors at play when she called this election, and people may well think that this was a game of chess, because when the Prime Minister addressed the nation yesterday, she was speaking to the divisiveness in the country, where she expressed grave concern over the state of affairs, especially on the management of COVID and economic issues. Of course, the election talk has been in the public domain for quite some time now, and this would have been propelled by rumors of disagreements within her own cabinet, especially among MPs who were staunch supporters of former Prime Minister, the late Owen Arthur. The most recent issue, I believe, that would have triggered this election may have been what has been a growing disquiet among nurses who were demanding better wages and better working conditions. In describing their action as unbelievable, the Prime Minister questioned why would the nurses would want to strike at a time when we are dealing with a COVID crisis. And she believes their attempt perhaps was to paralyze the national vaccination program in the middle of a dangerous pandemic. So they had been protesting for more than a week, and this protest would have been fueled by the opposition party in Parliament. And of course, they had stepped up protests even after having talks with the Minister of Health. And of course, those discussions are still ongoing. Another factor may well be the change of the country's status from being under British rule to becoming a republic. Now, as much as Barbadians and the rest of the world celebrated the occasion, the Prime Minister went ahead with the change without properly consulting Barbadians and without even a Republican constitution in place. And of course, like everywhere else, the management of COVID has been a bone of contention. That could be another factor of well. So based on the negative comments and the growing discontent from opposition supporters and maybe from among the rank and file of her party on the state of the affairs in the country, she called a snap election.
I find it very interesting, Ricardo, in terms of the snap for me and the very tight timelines. Nomination day being as early as next week, the elections coming on January 19th, and I wonder to myself, and you could give us a sense of what's happening on the ground there, if this may also have to do with the reality. I was chatting with one of my colleagues in Barbados yesterday as well, last night, if this also may have to do with the reality that things are going to get harder. Things are going to get more challenging. So I might as well capitalize on what might be, we might be somewhat at a challenging point, but still good to compare to where things are going to have to go and the tough decisions that have to be made in the context of Barbados. Do you think that could contribute as well to the very quick timing?
Yeah, I would say so too, because remember, Barbados is not only grappling with COVID. Barbados is currently under an IMF program, and because of the layoffs prior to them coming into office in 2018, there was not much improvement from that. And of course, COVID would have, drive the nail in the coffin as far as the tourism sector is concerned. You may well know that Barbados did not close their borders because they depend solely on the tourism product for there to be some kind of viable sustainability in the country. And that whole idea of them wanting to, let me put it this way, of her calling this election may well be to silence her critics, or to give Barbadians the opportunity to, to make the choice to see who is the better party to run the affairs of the country. Mind you, the opposition party is still reeling from the 2018 loss. Remember, this was a landslide victory where the Barbados Labour Party won all 30 seats. No one expected it to come, and they have never really recovered from it. So they are, well, according to the president, they are happy that this election has been called. They will present themselves as a viable option, but it'll be interesting to see how that will play, knowing that they are still trying to field candidates for all 30 seats and still trying to remove the stain that remains on them to this day from the last DLP administration. So those may be factors that would have also forced it to call this election as well.
It's safe to say, Ricardo, that even as much as PM Mia Mottley is loved in the region, well respected internationally and regionally, one still has to ensure that right in your own home, that you are putting things in order to really secure that kind of victory going forward.
Yeah, indeed. Mia Mottley is still a very popular person in Barbados. Barbadians, as I was sharing with someone yesterday, Barbadians are not easy to, they don't forget easily or forgive easily. So she is still running on the steam of that 2018 election victory. And she has won at least 60-something% of the vote. So in my mind, if I have to give a projection for the election, I think she will still pull through with a victory. Of course, she may not get the majority that she enjoys now in the parliament. And I think for the most part, the Barbadians understand the situation she is facing, because remember, she had inherited a problem that was created under the last DLP administration, where she had to grapple with severe financial constraints, and she had to make adjustments so that people, and one of those adjustments is getting the country into an IMF program, and so people understand the situation that she was confronted with, she had to deal with. And I think that when they go back to the polls, she may continue in office. But I think, as I said, this was a game of chess, because I think this is the opportunity for her to silence her critics once and for all, because she still believes that she has the majority of support of the country.
Well, we just want to definitely assure our viewers, Ricardo, we might be out of time this morning, but I'm certain we would be connecting over the next few weeks to really keep Tobago and the region at large up to date, because everybody wants to follow PM Mia Mottley and this elections. Ria?
Definitely. Ricardo, thank you so much for chatting with us this morning. We wish you all the best, season's greetings, and a bright and prosperous 2022. Thank you, guys. Same to you as well. All right. So there we have it, viewers. I love seeing it. Our Barbados correspondent, and I say it with the Barbadian accent. Our Barbados correspondent, Ricardo Roberts, and we go over to we switch gears, viewers. We coming up next on the program. We're chatting with Abini Taylor, and she's going to tell us more about the virtual Spanish spelling bee. I think my Barbados accent was still in.
You have to put in the Spanish
I have
accent.
to put in
now.
the Spanish
Senorita Taylor.
Oh, that's right. So we encourage you this morning to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Trinidad and Tobago, I am Nigel Paul, winner of a bronze medal at the recently concluded IBA World Boxing Championships for men held in Sofia in the 92 plus kgs category. I got vaccinated to represent the red, white and black with distinction. So now I'm asking you, all citizens, to please get the vaccine. Do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for the country. We the athletes want to train every day and bring back medals for you. So don't hesitate, vaccinate today.
Citizens, get the vaccine for you, me and TNT. Don't hesitate. Vaccinate today. Kindly sponsored by NLCB, Digicel.
Talk, watch, and listen to win big this Christmas with a Digicel Prime Bundle. The more you watch, cheer, and dance to your favorite Digicel apps, the more chances you have to win thousands of shake-to-win prizes. Enter to win grand prizes of $100,000, home appliances, and groceries valued at $50,000 or free Digicel services for a year. Visit My Digicel or dial *323# to buy a Prime Bundle today. And talk, watch, listen to win big with Digicel. Better together this Christmas.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. It's 7:45 a.m. And in this segment, some of you know her just quite simply as Senorita Taylor. Some of you know her as the award-winning Beanie Taylor. And this year she took on an even greater challenge. Host for the Tobago Youth Awards 2021. But with all that, this morning we are here to talk about the virtual Spanish spelling bee onset. And in this segment, we have Beanie Taylor. Good morning to you, Beanie.
Buenos dias, muy buenos dias.
How has the Christmas season been for you?
It was very quiet. All the days leading up, well, they said season before the Christmas day itself, and everybody cleaning, cooking, collecting the black cake, because I ain't baking no black cake. And you know,
I like that, collecting
nice.
the black cake.
Yes, collecting the black cake. Well, it was nice. It was quiet on Christmas Day. I actually did some schoolwork, but it was nice. Generally, I enjoyed my Christmas Day this year.
Excellent. So this morning we're chatting about the virtual Spanish spelling bee. Yes. And you realize every time Ria was about to speak about it, she almost missed the Spanish because we're so accustomed to saying spelling bee competitions. Yes. Now it's a virtual Spanish spelling bee. Give us the details into this competition.
Bueno, so es una competencia de deletreo hispano, lo siento. It is a Spanish spelling bee competition. It's virtual. The Modern Languages Association of Tobago, MLAT, which we call it, we used to have a Spanish spelling bee which was physical. But you know, COVID happened, and you know, everyone has to get innovative or creative right now. And earlier in this year, myself and a team would have hosted a virtual spelling bee competition for the MP for Tobago East. So that was like the trial run, and we realized that we were pretty okay doing it, so we decided to do a Spanish spelling bee, and the French is, of course, coming up. So it's a competition open for primary schoolers and secondary schoolers. I was actually very shocked with the number of students who wanted to participate. We have roughly 5 students in the primary school category, but the secondary school category, there are roughly 13 participants. Hopefully we don't have to go on to 10 rounds, etc. to get the winner. And of course, these students, rather these participants, must spell these words, these Spanish words, using the Spanish alphabet.
Wow.
So, yes.
I am, you're saying that to me, and I am hearing my Spanish teacher, Miss Davis, out of Scarborough Secondary School, saying you have to put in, what is it, the tilde?
The tilde and accent.
And the accent. So good morning to you, Miss Davis. But
she said buenos dias,
yes,
Senora Davis.
And, you know, this morning, and what I'm particularly pleased about, give us a sense. I see that you have a team in terms of really pushing this competition to ensure its success. Who are some of the persons behind the team?
Señorita Brittany Romeo. She's also una profesora de español y de francés. She's a Spanish and French teacher. And my beautiful Miss Kalia Neptune. She just received a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish and International Relations from the UWI in St. Augustine. And she's definitely an excellent Spanish teacher. That is Kalia. So 3 of us are working as a coordinating team for this competition, which will be taking place today from 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. with the secondary school.
So where can persons tune in to be able to follow this virtual competition?
It will be live on our Facebook page through the School of Foreign Language Tobago. We go live from 10 a.m. with our primary schoolers, and at 11:30 we go with the secondary schoolers.
All right. And you know, in terms of that age group, quite naturally, what kind of prizes can they look forward to?
Well, gracias a Dios, thanks to God, a lot of persons saw when I was advertising it, they wanted to sponsor or contribute. So first place is a tablet, a Galaxy Tab 7 Lite, along with $500, and some free stuff from the School of Foreign Language Tobago, like games in Spanish to enhance your language learning journey. Second place, you know, well, there's a trophy there as well, and a year-long scholarship at the School of Foreign Language with any program they want to get into. That's both for secondary and primary. And second place is $400 with trophies. There's so much. The prizes can be found on our page. And there are also special awards, like most confident speller. You don't have to place in the top 3, but once you are confident while attempting to spell, there's a prize for you. The most promising speller and the Abini Taylor Award for excellence in Spanish pronunciation.
And you know, what I love about it, initially when I entered high school, I was not a big fan of the languages, and Miss Davis will tell you that.
Yes, yes.
But one of the things that worked for me is that, and I see that in yourself, Brittany, Kali, you know, I see that being able to have people enjoy. And you know, then Miss Davis was saying it to me, and I grew to learn about it. And now living and engaging with young persons in my age group, really making that difference and engaging your students. Tell me how helpful that has been, particularly in encouraging students to become excited about the language.
Yes, you know, there is this expression, confidence is everything. So when you instill that confidence in your students, they now realize, okay, this thing is actually attainable, I could actually do this, let me get it done. And sometimes when you make reference to things around us with regard to the language, that also encourages them to learn even more. And of course, children like prizes.
Excellent.
So when you give them incentives, for sure.
And we just want to recap again, tell our viewers very quickly the time and where they can tune in to view this exciting competition coming up today.
Hola a todos, buenos días. The competition starts at 10 a.m. with our primary schoolers on our Facebook page, the School of Foreign Language Tobago, followed by our secondary schoolers at 11:30 a.m. Ciao, hasta pronto.
Viewers, we've had it there, Abini Taylor, and you can look forward to that competition today. We trust that persons will tune in for the excitement. By the next time we're chatting with Abini, I'm going to be able to engage her a little bit more about that vision, because I know she has that passion for ensuring the majority of Tobago is able to speak another language. Excellent mission and vision there. Viewers, we want to thank you for the love and support, and we want to encourage you to continue to share the live, share the live, share the live.
The Grinch has gone greener. In TNT, we love to lime and laugh a lot, but our waste hurts the earth, and that has got to stop. Good thing for those going greener, stepping up to save the day. Everyday heroes in their own way. You too can show you care. Recycle aluminum, plastic, glass, and Tetra Paks with iCare. Gather up the empties. Take them to your nearest iCare spot. They're all across the country. Check iCare TT and let's clean up. Help clear our drains and landfills. Stop the flood. So simple to do good. Recycle now with iCare. Let's all do our part. Show Sweet TNT we love you with all of our heart. Visit iCare TT for more info.
Carnival is the time when you let yourself go to that place in your soul that your mind want to go, holding on to a bumper and just whining away your life. So when you see them girls coming and they whining down low, it have nobody outside there. But that's a sad thing, because we want to get back to some level of normalcy, and the only way to do that is by taking the vaccine. So TNT, let's do this. Let's get back to normal. Please don't hesitate. Vaccinate.
Citizens, get the vaccine for you, me, and TNT. Kindly sponsored by NLCB, Digicel.
Jump up and down like you just don't care. It's carnival time. You can feel it in the air. This I wanna go on clear.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago. You can
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Morning show. We are chatting this morning with Elizabeth Hosford, and this morning we are talking about the Global Bible Marathon 2022. Mrs. Hosford is one of the committee members of the Bible Marathon Committee. Good morning and welcome to you.
Hi, pleasant good morning to you.
It's
Season's greetings.
Happy returns. I trust that you had a good few days.
Very relaxing, very quiet.
Very good. Happy to hear. Good morning to you, Curtis Hosford. Now, let's talk about the Bible Marathon. Let's give a little history here, very quick history, because we don't have much time. But how long has the Bible Marathon been in existence, and what is the purpose?
We have been in existence since 2014, in person from 2014 right up to 2020, and for 2021 was the first year that we would have gone virtual. The purpose basically is to reconnect with God, reading the Word of God, as we know that is the light and the lamp unto our feet. So that's our guiding scripture. So it is basically to reconnect with the Word of God, to reach out to persons in the different areas all over the world, globally and internationally.
Okay, now you say reading the Word of God. Is this about preaching the Word of God? Is it what? Is it?
It's just reading the Word of God. We start on January 1st. There's a opening celebration service, which starts at 20 minutes to 6, and we start reading the Word from Genesis to Revelation non-stop for 96 hours. So it's just reading the Word of God so that the Word of God goes forth.
This has been traditionally a Tobago thing. I think there was a time when it was extended to folks in Trinidad. And where is it now?
It is still in Tobago. It started, you are quite correct, we started as the Tobago Bible Marathon.
Right.
We are now the Global Bible Marathon. So that it is, for example, over the years, we have had different countries joining us: Grenada, Guyana, Barbados, the US, Toronto, Kenya. So over the years, these are the persons that would have joined the marathon. Now it is Global Bible Marathon in terms of going out there, which is what started in 2021.
All right. Now, is there still time for churches to get involved? And let me just ask a question, even as I asked about churches. Is this limited to churches?
We have different religious bodies. We have schools over the years. We had a number of schools, primary schools, secondary schools participating. But again, because of what transpired in 2021, where we are now, the schools are not participating. We have Full Gospel Businessmen, we have Gideons, we have a family that takes part every year as a group, for the want of a better word. So yes, it is open to persons. It is not too late. You can contact us. Our telephone contact numbers are 868-774-4477. So those are some of the numbers. We are also gbm.2020.org. You can go online and you can connect with us, and you should be able to participate for 2022.
So is it that you are logging on or you're registering via?
You can register via online, or you can register by calling the number. The thing is that you view on Facebook and on YouTube.
Right.
And that, as I said, starts on January 1st, 2022.
Now, are there still slots available? Are there still readings available for persons who are viewing this interview this morning and saying, you know, I want to get involved in this?
As part of a church group, yes. As part of a religious body and organization, yes. As I said, we have different countries participating, so yes, you are still welcome. We have probably just about 4 or so slots left, and I may probably put in a plug here for Trinidad, because Trinidad this year is hosting their own marathon.
Okay.
And that is one of the mandates that we have. We're hoping and praying, and that is one of our mandates, that, you know, this Bible marathon would be held in different countries throughout the world.
Okay, well, I'm really happy to hear that. So congratulations to Trinidad, definitely. Any closing comments, any bits of information that you'd like our viewers to be aware of?
The word of God is light. The word of God, it goes forth. We know that the word is God. The word is of God. So we encourage persons to listen to us on YouTube, on Facebook, and tune in from the 1st of January 2020 from 6 p.m. right up until Wednesday, the 5th of January, around the same time, 6 p.m., which is when we end.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Elizabeth Hosford, and to the Bible Marathon Committee, a special good morning going out to you. We go over now to this day in Tobago history with Devon Adana. Good morning, Devon.
Good morning. How are you? This day in Tobago history. Did you know that on December 28, 1829, the Major General completed his first term as governor? According to worldstatesman.org, 192 years ago today, Governor Nathaniel Shepherd Blackwell completed his first term as the governor of Tobago. Governor Blackwell was born in 1778 in England and died in Tobago on the 28th of August, 1833. He was a major general in the British Army and formerly the governor of St. Lucia from 1824 to 1826. This was 2 years before he took office in Tobago. On the 31st of July, 1828, Governor Blackwell arrived in Tobago at Corlan Bay on a ship of war called Victor to take up his duties. He was sworn in the very next day on August 1st, 1828. The governor's second term in office as the governor of Tobago occurred from 13th January 1830 to 12th April 1833. He died just 4 months later. It is important to note that soon after the arrival of General Blackwell in 1828, the first government house, which was a wooden building, was replaced by a structure of brick and stone. Even though he was not the first to stay at the government house, he was the first to stay in the new structure, which current-day Tobagonians would know as President's House. It is located at Mount William on Government House Road, about 2 miles out of Scarborough, just as it was all those years ago when Governor Blackwell stayed there. You've been watching This Day in Tobago History. My name is Devon Adana. Back to you in studio.
Hi, Devon.
Good morning. Hey.
It's sometimes, you know, when you head off set and you're waiting for that interview to come, you make sure to put on back your mask in studio here. So don't worry, I'm sure the viewers will understand that. And I just came back on in that flash and trying to pay attention to the story. I heard the latter part of it, Devon. We were speaking to Tobago having a governor.
Yes.
In those
we were
days?
talking about, yes, in that time, it was about 1828. So what happened is, though, the government house structure was a wooden structure. So they rebuilt it to be a brick structure, which is closer, it's more similar to what we call President's House today. It's the same location, but it was rebuilt upon Governor Major General Blackwell coming to Tobago, so that he would have been the first person to stay in the brick and stone structure as opposed to the wooden structure that was there before.
Wow. I felt like this is one of those things that I knew, but this morning's segment just kind of reminded me, yep, we started from as early as then.
That's right. Thank you so much there, Devon.
Oh, you all have a lovely morning.
So, Julian.
Ray, we got some morning shout-outs. We're seeing the love there on our live this morning, Tobago updates. We want to say good morning to those of you joining us via Gael, the channel, as well as Emani TV. And shout-outs this morning. Yes, Adriel Wheeler, we are seeing you. Curtis Hosford, and I like Curtis' greeting, you know. Just as you started that interview with Miss Hosford, Curtis nicely greeted you. Morning, Mrs. George. So he wants to remind you
that it's Mrs. Hosford, yes.
Good morning, Curtis Hosford joining us on the live this morning. Travis Moses, as well as Arlette Alexis, Russell Morrison. And we see as well Stepper McConey Critchlow. So shout outs this morning also to Digicel and Karen.
Okay. As well, Leanne Richardson, good morning to you. Anne-Marie James Henry, good morning to you. Grace Stanley, Roxanne Thom Brafford, Gabrielle Alexander, Rhea Orr, Ray Trinbago, Wendell McNeil, and Lynette McKenzie. Thank you for joining us on the live this morning. Some new faces, new names.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
But we can't forget Latoya Anderson joining us on the live. Marva Baker, good morning. Yes, Rhea, good now. You could go ahead.
He's good now. Well, viewers, we want to thank you for joining us today. Have a great day. Stay safe on the island's roads. Remember to wear your mask, as Julian was wear your mask, sanitize, and socially distance. We see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye, folks.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.